Okay. Bonjour, comment ça va aujourd'hui?
Bien.
Bien. Ok, pour le warm-up, nous allons faire exercice 1 à la page 33. L'exercice s'appelle la trousse des toilettes, which is like a toiletry kit or a bag. And we'll read the directions here and then see if we can figure out what they're asking for us to do. It says, ce week-end, vous n'allez pas rester chez vous. Mentionnez 5 articles ou plus que vous allez mettre dans votre trousse de toilette si vous allez faire du camping et si vous allez passer le week-end chez vos cousins. So we're just going to stop there and do that, just that first part. So Marie, what is it asking for us to do here?
Say what you would like, what 5 items you would bring if you're going camping or if you're staying with your cousins for the weekend.
Right, okay, good. So we want for you to think about some of the items that are presented over on page 42. And I know we haven't gone over the pronunciation of all of these yet, but think about what you would need, and you're obviously welcome to write things that are not on this list either. Ok, bien. Donc, premièrement, peut-être ce sont la même liste, oui, c'est une possibilité que tu as écrit les mêmes choses pour chaque liste, mais en général, si vous allez faire du camping, qu'est-ce que c'est nécessaire à avoir?
Les déodorants,
Oui.
la brosse à dents, le shampoo, le savon et les dentifrices.
Oui, d'accord. Shampoo, le shampoing.
Oh,
Le shampoing. It looks like shampooing, is how it's spelled. Okay, good. Et si vous allez passer le week-end chez vos cousins, quelles sortes de choses sont nécessaires?
Les déodorants, les rasoirs, les brosses à dents, les mascaras et l'eyeliner.
Et l'eyeliner.
So
Okay.
do they have shampoo and soap?
Oui, oui, parce qu'ils ont déjà les autres choses, oui. Le savon, le shampoing, c'est ça. Okay, bien. So let's go through the items down here. I think yesterday we got through everything in the top box there. Down below with all of the pictures, it says quelques autres articles de toilette et produits de beauté. So some other toiletry articles and beauty products. So starting over on the left-hand side, we've got the word for mirror. Répétez, une glace. Good. And we'll just kind of go, we'll just go down. Then we've got nail polish, le vernis à ongles.
Le vernis à ongles.
Deodorant, le déodorant. Good. A washcloth down below is un gant de toilette. Good. Toothbrush, la brosse à dents. Toothpaste, le dentifrice. Up at the top there, with the makeup items, let's see here, what is, eyeshadow is le fard à paupières. Paupières is the actual word for the like eyelids themselves, and then le fard means like coloring for a shade for. Okay, and then mascara is le mascara, or also called le rimel. I don't know if you know this, Rimmel. Have you heard of Rimmel, the makeup product line? Yeah. Okay, so Rimmel is just mascara in French. And then perfume is le parfum. They also have what's called l'eau de toilette, which would be like a body spray, basically, for us. Aftershave, l'après-rassage. Razor, le rasoir. Shaving cream, la crème à raser. A mirror is in a hand mirror en miroir. Hairbrush, une brosse à cheveux. Good. Ok, bien. Regardons exercice 2. Qu'est-ce qu'ils vont faire? What are they going to do? It says, lisez les descriptions suivantes. Read the following descriptions. Puis mentionnez 2 ou 3 choses que chaque personne va faire. So here they want for us to use the verbs themselves, and what we'll do is, since we're saying what they're going to do, we're just going to use aller like they've done here in the example, and then the infinitive. So for example, in the model it says Philippe vient de jouer au foot. He just finished playing soccer. Il va dans la douche du stade. He's going into the shower at the stadium. So we would probably say il va prendre une douche, or he's going to take a shower. Il va se laver les cheveux. He's going to wash his hair. Et ensuite, il va se sécher et se mettre du déodorant. And after that, he's going to dry himself off and put on some deodorant. So how about for numéro 1? It says, il est 7 heures du matin. Monsieur Lebeau, président de la Banque industrielle, se lève et va dans la salle de bain. Qu'est-ce qu'il va faire? What is he going to do dans la salle de bain?
Il va prendre une douche.
Mm-hmm.
Il va se rasseoir.
Oui, il va se raser probablement. Mm-hmm. Avec un rasoir, oui. Ok, bien. How about numéro 2? Il est 11 heures du soir. Jérôme va se coucher. He's going to go to sleep. D'abord, il va dans la salle de bain. So things you do before going to bed, probably.
Oh, okay. Il va brosser un dent.
Oui. Il va se brosser les dents. Peut-être il va prendre une douche. Mais certainement, il va se brosser les dents. Numéro 3. Ce soir, la fameuse chanteuse de opéra va jouer le rôle de Carmen. Elle est dans sa loge, her dressing room, où elle se prépare pour la représentation.
Elle va mettre les fards à paupières.
Oui.
Et le mascara.
Mm-hmm.
Et le rouge à lèvres.
Oui, les rouges à lèvres. Très bien. So if we wanted to give a verb for that whole process, she's going to make up herself. How would we say that?
Et elle va se maquiller.
Elle va se maquiller, oui. And then, yeah, good. So elle va mettre, she'll put on le fard à paupières, le mascara, etc. Good. Okay. Et numéro 4, Caroline va dîner avec Vincent, son nouveau copain, dans un restaurant très élégant. Elle se prépare pour l'occasion.
Elle va se maquiller
Mhm.
et brosser les dents
Oui.
et mettre le vernis à ongles.
Oui, mettre le vernis à ongles. Oui, peut-être. Okay, good. Excellent. Okay. Exercice 3, here this is more of a conversational back and forth. It says, vous êtes en voyage avec un groupe. Demandez à votre partenaire l'un des objets suivants et expliquez pourquoi vous en avez besoin. So in the model, the first person says, tu as du shampoing? Do you have any shampoo? The other person says, oui, pourquoi? Ou je voudrais me laver les cheveux. I'd like to wash my hair. Obviously, that's why you would need shampoo. But just for the sake of practicing the verbs, we'll humor them and go along with it. So I'll be the oui pourquoi lady, and we'll have you do the bulk of the speaking here. So pick one item. Choisissez une chose.
To add to add the mascara.
Oui.
Just what I leave out would do, or
To, well, what she's saying here is, do you have some shampoo?
Okay.
Or like, do you have any shampoos? So, if you just want to say, do you have mascara? I would say, tu as le mascara. If you wanted to say, do you have some mascara that like I could borrow, then you'd say, tu as du mascara. So either way would be
Okay.
correct. Oui, pourquoi j'ai le mascara?
je voudrais mascara.
Je voudrais mettre le mascara, oui. Or you could say, je voudrais me maquiller les yeux. Oui. I want to put makeup on my eyes. Good. Okay, let's try one more.
To do dentifrice.
Oui, pourquoi?
Je voudrais brosser les dents.
Je voudrais me brosser les dents, oui. Okay, good. So what happens is that when you're using a reflexive verb as an infinitive, and for example, you're saying what you are going to do, je vais, you keep the verb itself in infinitive form, like brosser les dents, for example. But what you do is you go ahead and insert the correct pronoun, reflexive pronoun. Just like you would do if this was in present tense. Right? So usually when the infinitive of one of these verbs is presented just on its own, you will see se brosser les dents, right? Like to brush one's teeth. Okay. In this context, though, you can go ahead and put in the me. Or, for example, if I was going to ask you, tu vas, hey, are you going to put makeup on? I might say, tu vas te maquiller. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, tournez la page, page 44, and we'll take a look at the present tense conjugations and also how to tell people to do things, so using the, what we call the imperative or the command form of these verbs. Yesterday we wrote out present tense forms of, I think, the verb se raser. Here in the book they have the example of laver, se laver. And so they give all of the different forms in the present tense, right? Je me lave, tu te laves, il, elle, on se lave, nous nous lavons, vous vous lavez, and then il, elle, plural, se lave. To make those negative, you're just putting ne pas around the whole verb form. And so for example, je ne me lave pas, the ne pas goes around the whole thing, and in this case it has to include a reflexive pronoun. I think we went over that yesterday as well. Okay, then to ask a question, What you can do is say, there's a couple of different ways you can ask, are you washing yourself, are you taking a shower or whatever. So you could put est-ce que in front and say, est-ce que tu te laves? Or you could say, te laves-tu, using inversion. When you put est-ce que at the beginning of a question, you just leave the statement like it normally would be. And then, or you could have te laves-tu. Okay. So this would be inversion. But it would mean the exact same thing as this question. Okay. And then over in the on the right-hand side of this page, we have the imperative, right, or the command form. If you want to tell somebody, wash yourself, right, or go get clean, go clean up, you would say lave-toi, or let's get cleaned up, right, for dinner or something. Lavons-nous. Kids, you guys go get cleaned up. Lavez-vous. Command form with reflexives. Just like with normal commands, like if we want to say, hey, listen, écoutez, right? We just use the verb itself without the pronoun, without the vous in front of it. We do the same thing with these verbs, only we have to remember to still put in the reflexive pronoun as well. So, for an example, lave-toi, and so the toi is like replacing the te, if that makes sense. Okay, or lavez-vous. Okay. Yeah. So then to make those negatives, don't wash up, we're eating dinner right now, for example, ne te lave pas. So you just do the same thing that you would do here, but without the subject. Right? Ne te lave pas, ne vous lavez pas, etc. Okay? And then they give a couple of examples of infinitive constructions, and we actually just did that in those previous exercises. So I'm going to wash up, je vais me laver. I'm not going to wash my hair, je ne vais pas me laver les cheveux. We are going to brush our teeth. Nous allons nous brosser les dents. You are not going to shave. Vous n'allez pas vous raser. Then below that, we have some uses, some other uses of reflexive verbs. It says reflexive verbs are very common in French. They are used to describe actions that the subject is performing on or for him or herself. And so we talked about that yesterday, and it's evident with some of these verbs. If you're brushing your teeth, you're obviously brushing your own teeth. It reflects back on you. So the examples that they give here are Catherine se regarde dans la glace. Catherine is looking at herself in the mirror. So this is an example of taking a regular old verb like regarder and making it reflexive to fit the occasion. If you wanted to say like, oh, don't mind me, I'm talking to myself, you could say je me parle, right? To reflect it back on yourself. Or for example, I'm fixing myself a sandwich. Je me fais un sandwich. You would also use reflexives to describe many aspects of one's daily routine. For example, je me lève à 7 heures, I get up at 7 o'clock. And it says, note the use of the definite article after reflexive verbs. We also mentioned this the other day. When you're using a reflexive verb and you've got a body part in there, like teeth or hair or fingernails, it's already obvious that you're talking about your own body part, and so you don't need to use the possessive. You can just say, for example, je me brosse les dents, right? Or tu te brosses les dents. Alice se coupe les ongles. And that would mean Alice is cutting her nails. There's a little picture here. The mom is knocking on the door and she says, Dis Christophe, est-ce que tu te laves? What is she asking him here?
Are you washing yourself?
Yeah, and he says, Non, je ne me lave pas, je lave le chien.
I'm not washing myself, I'm washing the dog.
Right. So in this instance, in the second sentence, je lave le chien, there's no reflexive pronoun because he's talking about doing something to or for an other person, in this case an animal, right? So that would make sense there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's try to put together some sentences then. Looking over on page 45, exercice 4, it says le matin. It says choose one person and tell what she or he is doing, basically. Let's just use present tense here with these. Be logical. So really you're just picking a person or people, and then you're picking a verb to conjugate. And so let's have you do 4. Pick 4 different subjects from the key box there, and then line them up with some of the verbs from the quoi box. And using your example of laver on the previous page, how would you write out in present tense? For example, Jean-Philippe is brushing his teeth. You are putting makeup on, etc. Okay, I'll give you a couple minutes for that. Okay, yeah. So give me one sentence. Well, actually, we'll just go ahead and write up all your sentences as examples here for Lauren in the video. So, donnez-moi le premier.
Is it sécher?
Tu te sèches.
Okay, sèche. Les cheveux.
Yeah. How did you spell sèche?
S-E-C-H-E-S.
Mm-hmm. Tu te sèches les cheveux. And what would this mean in English?
You dry your hair.
You dry your hair, good, or you're drying your hair right now. Okay. Une autre phrase?
Nous nous brossons les cheveux.
Okay, so we are brushing our hair when we brush our hair on a regular basis. Okay, la troisième?
Je me lave les mains.
washing my hands. Okay. Et la dernière?
Eric et Thomas se brossent les dents.
Se brosse les dents. Okay, bien. So here we use the EL plural version of the verb. And let's see, most of the list of reflexive verbs that are presented here, I think all of them are just regular ER verbs, it looks like. Yeah. Oh, essuyer. Yeah, essuyer is regular as well. Okay. All right, good, très bien. Okay. Let's see here. Let's do one more exercise and then we'll finish for today. Exercice 5, it says publicité. Publicité, c'est un advertisement, commercial. It says composez des slogans publicitaires pour les produits suivants. So we'll just do this speaking wise. So for example, over in the left-hand column, they've got these products and the names are given, like the brand names are given in bold there, or in capitals. And then over to the right, we've got the different verbs to choose from. And so the model says, Mesdemoiselles, ladies, maquillez-vous avec le fard Cléopâtre. Make up yourselves with Cleopatra eyeshadow. So what if we wanted to say, let's see here. What if we wanted to tell people, shave with the Blip razor?
Se raser avec le rasoir.
Oui, but raser, okay, so raser, but we also have to put the
Oh yeah.
So in each of these cases, we want to do vous, because we're speaking to the public, right? Meaning like you shave with such and such. So it'd be rasez-vous avec le rasoir Blip. Okay? Let's see here. What would another one be? I'll give you a sec to look.
Se parfumez-vous avec l'eau de toilette?
Oui. Parfumez-vous avec l'eau de toilette Vesuve. Good. We might also have lavez-vous les cheveux avec le shampoing Sapilo or Capilo. Réveillez-vous en musique, wake up with music, avec la radio symphonie, etc. Okay, good. Ok, prenez les voix, juste étudier le vocabulaire et les verbes, d'accord? Ok.